Hey everybody, I'm David. Welcome to my channel, My Yard Sale. Happy New Year to everybody. Hope this year's kicking off positive and good for everybody. So I do have a couple minor updates over the last week and just some general conversation. So I'm 99% sure that what I've been experiencing is glycation. And I'm 99% sure because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a healthcare professional. I don't have blood tests, so I'm not absolutely positive. I'm just basing this on what I've figured out, what I've investigated, and what I think. I'm 99% sure that my problem is glycation, and I would like to say that I test my body, my metabolism, but that's actually not the case. My thing is I usually make some bad decisions, and then I have to try to figure out what the heck did I do, what happened. And in this particular case, is I did add sugar back into my diet, and it wasn't a lot of sugar, but it was enough sugar that it definitely started causing me some problems. And the problems that it was causing me is it makes the neuropathy in my hands much worse. It makes my balance much worse. And when I talk about my balance and this glycation and neuropathy, like I can walk, I can stand up and walk, but for some reason, like the muscles inside my legs, they don't fire correctly. So even though I know where I want to walk to, it's like it's like the muscles in my legs don't work correctly to propel me in that direction. So I have to be really careful and have handholds on everything and kind of mentally prepare myself for if I fall, what am I going to do? So yeah, this glycation thing creeped up on. What didn't creep up on me? I mean, I added sugar back into my diet, which I probably shouldn't have, but I did. And the glycation, it wasn't like I ate a little bit of sugar and then all of a sudden I was having a problem. But this glycation thing, it like stacks. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's not like getting worse, getting bad enough that you think, holy mackerel, like what did I do? It just slowly and gradually gets worse and worse until you realize you've got a problem. And then, like walking becomes difficult. Like I was doing pretty good a couple weeks ago. I have a not a huge house, but I have a house where I have this room that I sit in usually because I keep it heated. And then I have the other end of my house where the kitchen is. And I'll heat some food up in the microwave and I'll walk from there that part of the house to this part of the house. And I was having a hard time holding my dish because my hands were just the neuropathy was so bad that it was an issue. It was a problem. So I knew things were getting worse. And then, yeah, just small things like I was having skin irritations. Like I have this weird thing where when I try to clench my fists, like when I'm not when I'm not having glycation or I'm not having inflammation, I can clench my fist with strength. But when I'm having inflammation, and I think the glycation is the inflammation, like trying to clench my fists is impossible. So a couple weeks ago, I made a note about my shaker and getting the lid off my shaker. Like for a week, I was actually getting the lid off my shaker pretty well because I could again clench my fists and I had some strength in my clench and I could get my shaker off. And then as adding that sugar into my diet slowly, just stacked up and stacked up and stacked up. It made it so I lost the strength in my hands, and getting the lid off that shaker was quite impossible. So my diet now is I have cut the sugar back out again. I do use sweetener. I use allulose as a sweetener, and that doesn't seem to affect me. I had read that it can actually spike your insulin a little bit, but I don't know that I necessarily notice that. I don't know that I see that. But so I'm definitely eating. Well, I'm eating pea protein shakes. My pea protein shake now is a shake, obviously the powder. I do put some allulose in it. I put in some dark cocoa powder, and I put in a little bit of cinnamon. And I was putting in sunflower seeds, which I just got more sunflower seeds. I'll be adding sunflower seeds again. But I do like to add a little bit of carbs. So I did put a tiny bit of, maybe like a third of a cup of a scoop of oatmeal, like that rough cut oatmeal, or I don't know what you even call it, but it's just plain oatmeal, not like packet oatmeal or anything like that, just regular oatmeal. But I put a little bit of that in, and occasionally I'll put in chia or flax seeds, but I haven't done that in a little bit. But I do put in a little bit of allulose sweetener. I kind of need the sweetener with that pea protein. It's hard for me to drink it without sweetener, but if I add a little bit of sweetener, I can drink it. And then I also add a little bit of powdered lemon. That powdered lemon stuff, I'm finding that I can literally put that in everything. And I think the vitamin C is actually doing me good. I mean, I feel better after I drink a shake or eat a shake with that lemon powder in it. And it's not lemon like lemon citric acid lemon, like a squeeze off that little squeezy thing. It's actually powder of like blended and dried lemons. So I'm getting the peels, I'm getting the white part, I'm probably eating the seeds. I'm eating all of it. It's dried. And it actually tastes really good in whatever shake I'm making. But I'm having that shake again with allulose, dark cocoa, some cinnamon, and sunflower seeds if I have sunflower seeds. If I have pumpkin seeds, I would use those. But so I drink a 10 or 18 ounce shake once a day, and that actually fills me up pretty well. I put coconut shavings in it too, which I actually like that quite a bit. It tastes really good, and it makes me feel a little bit more full, which I kind of like that. But I'm also eating burger patties. I have frozen burger patties that I cook up in the microwave, and I just microwave the heck out of it till it's dry. And I drain off the fat and try to drain off the fat, and then I just eat it, and I actually like it. So that's mainly my diet now. It's just those protein shakes and burger patties and cheese if I have cheese. I don't have cheese right now, so I didn't want to say that. But that's my diet right now. And it seems like now that I've gotten the sugar back out, I'm starting to head in the right direction again. Like my bones were like starting to snap like really loud again. I knew that there was a problem. I knew it was an issue. I just didn't know exactly, what it was or how quickly I could turn it around. But now I'm making the diet change to get back to just ketovore carnivore and without sugar. I thought I could handle the sugar, and I had read a lot of documentation about having some sugar in your diet isn't bad because your body can use the sugar, but quite frankly, I think my body doesn't effectively utilize sugar, and it causes me problems. And I'm guessing there's probably a lot of people out there that have the same issues. And if there's any questions on the problems that I was having, or if you want to talk about what I was experiencing or what you might be experiencing, do me a favor, leave a comment below. I respond to all comments. So that's my diet and my health. So I've been up and down a little bit over the past 2 weeks. But now I'm getting ready to buy more groceries, which will be all carnivore, ketovore for sure. Mostly meat. I'm getting a lot of meat. Last week I tried also. I had bought some plant protein nuggets, like chicken nuggets made out of plant protein. And I'm just gonna say that like the breading was actually okay, but I'll never order those again. I'd rather just eat chicken nuggets, or I'll make homemade chicken nuggets if I can get to it. But plant protein nuggets, I think they're probably a good use for some people, but it's not a good use for me. I found myself just wanting to cover it in, like, I have this sugar-free barbecue sauce, and those nuggets tasted, they had no flavor. They just didn't taste like anything. You could put salt on them, and it was just breading, and I don't know what a plant protein nugget is made out of. I don't know if it's just a powdered chunk that gets fried or baked. I don't exactly know how that works, but I won't order those again, and I don't suggest them. I don't think they're really tasty. I'd rather just eat chicken nuggets, or I'd rather just eat a burger patty. It's much better. So that was my food trial of the week. I'm not going to suggest plant protein nuggets. Hey, if you eat plant protein nuggets and you have delicious ones that you want to suggest, or you want to have me take a look at, do me a favor, leave in the comments. Or if you have a favorite way of preparing it. Now, I don't have an air fryer, so I was actually microwaving these things. And maybe that's my problem. Maybe I needed to put them in the oven and maybe get an air fryer and air fry these things. But nuking them in the microwave, there's no pleasure in that. I mean, I do microwave regular chicken nuggets, and I actually like them. They're not bad at all. But plant protein nuggets in the microwave, nope, not for me. Not gonna work out. So there's that. And then, so the other thing that happened this week, or not this week, but over the last couple of weeks, I had this frozen tundra plunge where I live. I live in upstate in New York, and it got super cold. Like one night, I remember it was like 4 degrees. It was so cold. I talked about this a little bit last week, but I didn't tell you the rest of the story. So I had this other building on my property that there was a smell of like gas. Like they have gas. We all use gas around here to cook and heat, but they smelled gas over there, and the electric company, the power company, came out, and they said that I don't know anything about this, but there was a throttle or a neck that the pipe comes out of the ground, and it goes into the meter, and there was some corrosion on that neck, and they cut off. They said they cut off the gas to an outbuilding that I have, but they actually cut the gas off to my house, and I didn't realize it at first because I have a hot water heater that it's not huge, but it's big enough that I could clean up. I could run hot water, and it was still hot. It was hot for a couple of days. So Christmas came around, and my furnace started making weird noises and just not working correctly. And that's when the temperature started plunging. And I don't know, the day after Christmas, I heard this loud crack in the middle of the night. And coming to find out, I had a radiator in my house. And of course, I have radiators that are probably 150 to maybe even 300 years old because my house is old. And the radiator cracked out and started leaking water everywhere. I had to shut everything off. So I've literally had no heat in my house since the 17th of last month. Well, closer to the no, actually it was the 17th because that's when they cut the heat off, or that's when they cut the gas off. And yeah, so now I'm getting this resolved, and I'll hopefully have that resolved this next week. But I'm sitting in this room next to this electric heater that I have, and luckily I have it, or I'd be freezing to death in here. So that's been the story of my last week and a half, 2 weeks. So now I've got this whole thing. I've got to figure out with a contractor what's up with my heat. How's it going to get fixed? My furnace, my hot water heater. I'm trying to get this all replaced and taken care of in the next week, because being a little bit chilly is one thing, but when it's freezing cold out, you don't have heat, you don't have hot water, you don't even actually. I do have water, but everything in my house is like, it's cold. My whole house is freezing cold, and I'm kind of heating my whole house with this one heater that I have. It's really frustrating. It's a pain in the ass. It's been a tough couple of weeks, and then on top of it, this whole diet thing has been like I'm hoping that in the next couple of days I'll get this heating thing squared away, and taking the sugar back out of my diet will catch back up with me and help me resolve the glycation. The one thing that I did read about that lemon powder, the lemon juice, is that it supposedly helps with glycation. So I try to make a lemon shake, mostly, like I said, with lemon, water, a little bit of cinnamon, and if I have some cocoa powder, I'll use cocoa powder. I mix it all up with a little bit of allulose, and I drink that, as just a drink. I drink it in my shaker, and I actually like it. I like it a lot. It tastes really good, and I'm hoping that lemon juice is going to help resolve some of this glycation a little bit faster. Again, I'm not positive if I'm having glycation. I could be having other issues, but everything that I figured out ties back to glycation, and it definitely is all tied directly to not the amount of carbs that I eat necessarily, but the actual raw sugar that I eat. If I add sugar to my shakes, like I said, it's not like the initial shake wrecks me, but if I eat even just one shake a day for 5 to 7 days, by the seventh day, I'm having problems, and that's what I tied back to. I'm starting to keep like a journal to keep track of this stuff, because my body just, like, if I eat a cookie or if I eat something sweet and sugary, it doesn't affect me immediately. But if I eat like one a day for 7 or 10 days, it stacks up, it adds up, it adds up, it adds up, until it finally just, the inflammation just catches up and makes life difficult. But yeah, the thing that I'm noticing lately about how the glycation, the inflammation is affecting me is, and I noticed this, and I don't want to make this too personal, but when guys go to the bathroom, we have to stand in front of the toilet or we have to sit on the toilet. Two choices. Well, I personally, I'm a stander. I like to stand, and I go to the bathroom, and I'm clean. I don't go everywhere, but what I noticed was, like, as I was going to the bathroom, I started losing strength in different parts of my leg, and I would have to literally reach out and lean against the wall, and then I'd be fine. It was okay. But that was kind of made me notice that I was having some kind of a problem. Because generally I'm pretty solid. I can stand up and walk away from where I'm sitting, or stand where I need to stand, or if I want to walk over and sit on my bed for a second and lift a weight or lift some weights or try to work out a little bit, it's not a huge problem. But this thing with my legs, like, it made it so that if I was leaning forward, like it didn't mean that I was going to walk forward. If I was going to lean backward, it didn't mean that I was going to turn around and be able to walk backward. Like, the strength in the muscle on my legs didn't completely, I don't know, report to my brain correctly, or maybe just didn't. I don't know exactly what it is. But that was the glycation that I think I was feeling. And I'm starting to get some strength back in my legs again pretty quickly. Like, within a couple of days of no sugar, I'm getting the strength back in my legs pretty quickly. So I'm hoping that in the next 5 or 8 days, I'll get the strength back in my legs and I'll get the coordination back in my legs. Like, the thing that concerns me the most is, like, I need to have groceries delivered because I can't go out and get groceries. I can't obviously drive. But I'm afraid that if I have them deliver groceries, I'm not going to be able to get to my front door to get them get them off the porch. Like, that concerns me. But I'm getting around a little bit better, so I'm happy about that. It's pretty, like, that whole week long of creeping into this whole metabolic glycation, inflammation problem. It creeps along very slowly, and then I just really realized, whoa, there's a problem here. I'm starting to feel the results of getting the sugar back out pretty quickly. Like, within a couple of days, it's starting to resolve. So I'm hoping every day it's going to resolve a little bit better. But I'm still loving my protein shakes. I do love them. I mean, it's just pea protein and some spices. I feel pretty full when I eat them. I really like them better with the sunflower seeds um, or the pumpkin seeds. I like them better. I really like it with coconut, and I think, going to start adding some flax seeds back in. But I'm holding off on the chia seeds because the chia just gets too. It turns into a huge, gloopy like block, and I don't really like that as much. So I'm switching around my protein shake a little bit. Hopefully, I'll like it better than I like it now, which I actually love it. I could actually eat 3 protein shakes a day if I felt like that was the right thing to do, which I don't think it's the right thing to do, but I could eat 3 protein shakes a day, which is plenty of protein. And the nice part is, some days I feel more cinnamony, some days I feel more chocolatey, some days I feel more lemony, and I can take any one of those things out and not add it to my shake, and it tastes like a completely different shake. So I really enjoy that. Anyways, I know this hasn't been a super exciting post, as usual, which is good. The less exciting posts that I have, the better I'm doing. So I'm happy about that. Um, I'm hoping this week to get this whole heating situation, this whole gas situation, plumbing situation resolved, and get back to having heat, because this is a pain in the ass. I haven't. I've lived in really cold areas. I've only had a couple of times when I felt like I was freezing, and I was actually feeling like I was freezing for a little bit. I sleep under an electric blanket, which is nice. I'm glad I have that. I have an electric throw blanket that I sit under. I'm sitting under it right now in this chair that I'm sitting in, and that's keeping me warm. But other than that, like if I go to the other end of my house is freezing cold. And I'm trying to get things resolved before more horrible things happen to my plumbing. So this cold spell has been one time that I felt freezing. Another time that I felt freezing was when I was working, and I was actually out in Buffalo at a company event, and it was an alcohol related event. And I felt like, I didn't feel like I was drinking too much. We were all just having drinks. But at the time it was for me to head back to my hotel, I did realize that something was happening, and maybe it was my metabolism then. I don't know. But I thought that I had had too much to drink, and I chose not to drive back. I just sat in my car, which I know that you can get a DUI sitting in a car. But luckily that night it wasn't an issue. But I sat in my car, and it was freezing cold that night too. It's always cold in Buffalo, actually. If you're from Buffalo, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, it's always cold out in more western New York. It's always very cold. But I remember being in the car that night, and I'd have to like shake myself awake every couple of hours, turn the car on just to heat it up, because I literally felt like I was going to freeze to death in that car. And I had a good car for the cold and the weather. I had a Subaru at the time. So I would just fire up the Subaru and heat it up for a couple of minutes, and then I'd be okay for a couple more hours. So that was the second time that I had the feeling that I was going to freeze to death. And my third time was when I was in the Navy, and I was an airman in the Navy. I used to fly in helicopters, and part of my job was obviously to fly in places that weren't always friendly. And I guess back then, I'm an older guy, so back then there was more issues with probably Russia or European countries um, than there was with like Asian companies or Asian countries. Like I didn't go to search evasion and rescue training in a jungle area. I went to search evasion and rescue training in Brunswick, Maine. This time of year, actually. It was actually this time of year, except for we had several feet of snow at the time. So I had spent the week out running from bad guys, basically, running from what they were Navy guys, but they were posing as terrorists. They had machine guns. They were grabbing people. They would take us back to jails or prisons, and that's where we would get training on how to act or how to be in a prison. But during the escape time, you're out in the woods running through snow and um, freezing cold temperatures, and you don't eat that week, which is pretty difficult when you come from a lifestyle where you're used to eating, 2 or 3 times a day, or even more, I guess. But back then, I mostly just ate once a day. Um, but so I was out running through the woods, and at one point, they they have like an alarm, or I don't remember exactly what it was. It was some kind of a notification that it was time to like bed down. And when you bed down, that means you're not going to continue running. Because quite frankly, I could have just kept on running. I could have run all the way to Canada. I could have run all the way from Brunswick, Maine to Albany. At that point, I was ready to get the hell out of there. So they do this alarm, and they have you go and bed down somewhere. And they do walk around and check everybody out. But I remember I found this place that it was a tree stump that had been tipped over, and I dug a hole next to the stump in the snow. Again, we had, I don't know, 2 or 3 feet of snow, but I dug a hole in the snow. I had foul weather gear, like I had a really nice thick jacket, really nice thick pants. Like they do dress you up pretty good to get out there and be in freezing temperatures, but it was still cold. Um, I remember I took my jacket off and I stuck it over my hole that I had dug down under the tree stump. And it was enough that I could get down underneath there. And it wasn't like spacious like some of these people on YouTube that make these things. It wasn't like that. It was literally a burrow. It was a hole. It was like I felt like a rat. But I had dug a hole under this stump. I'd gotten down inside of it, and I used my jacket to plug up the hole so that I could hopefully retain a little bit of body heat, which actually it did work. I woke up the next day, and it wasn't the worst thing ever. Actually, I slept pretty good with all the foul weather gear that I had, and that jacket covering the door. I actually slept pretty good, but I still felt like I was freezing to death, and that was the third time that I felt that. And I told myself at that point, when I get out of this and I get out of here, I'm going to go back to Virginia Beach, and I'm going to keep on going south, and I'm never coming north again. And yeah, I didn't follow my own thoughts. I ended up north again, and here I am with another freezing cold situation. But anyways, those are the 3 times that I thought I was going to freeze to death. I'm not thinking I'm going to freeze to death now. But those other 2 times, I actually did think I was going to freeze to death. But right now, it's cold, and I can't wait to get this heat and this whole gas situation resolved. It's very frustrating. I'm glad I have the clothes to manage it, and I have the blankets to manage it. I'm thankful for that. But other than that, everything is difficult. There's 2 places that I like to be right now. One is sitting in this chair under this electric throw. And the other one is in my bed under my electric blanket. Those are the only 2 warm places in my house. I do have in my house, I have a wood burning stove, but I've had such problems with my neuropathy that I don't trust myself messing around with fire, just fire in general. I don't trust myself. I don't need to, I've had enough problems. I don't need to burn my house down with, a log falling out of my wood stove and lighting a carpet on fire or something. So I've chosen not to do that. So yeah, the last 2 weeks, I'm not going to say the most difficult time of my life, but holy moly, this is pretty difficult. I mean, could it be harder? Yeah, it could. What would I do? I don't know. I don't even know how I would resolve it or how I would be able to work through it. So anyways, I hope this is an interesting post. I hope that you're having a great day, having a great weekend, and that's it. Have a great rest of the day. Bye all. Bye.